we've only just got over one Bush, now they want to have another one in America. Can you just tell me now how many Bushes you've got so as I can steel myself for an endless cavalcade of Bushes leading directly to the end of mankind? This week your new president might well be Jeb Bush. He's almost certain to be, but let's make sure he's a thoroughly good fella and knows how to work a room.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the next president of the United States of America, Jeb Bush!
That's the same intro that Hulk Hogan has in like Rocky 3, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a bloke who's going to really badly let you down and hasn't even got a lovely blonde handlebar moustache. Look at the MP, he almost shoved him away. I mean, they're in Florida. That black geezer's lucky he didn't get shot. Isn't it sort of disheartening that the word Jeb is always, it's the same font and that? It's not like people went, oh, I'm going to see Jeb Bush, I better make myself a Jeb Bush placard thing to wave around to conjure up some enthusiasm. They forgive them on the way in, don't they? Here's your Jeb Bush thing. Woo! Woo! Here's the next Bush that you've been to. Oh. Woo! Woo! Just keep going woo until we run out of oil.
And I've decided I'm a candidate for President of the United States of America.
Now, what are these people in the background that leapt to their feet at the announcement of Jeb Bush deciding to be president? It's about as surprising as when all the other Bushes decide to be president, or Clinton decided to be president, or when they do an illegal war, or we find out they dress up in weird robes and worship an owl somewhere. I mean, I think they actually do that. Like, what are these people doing the rest of the time? Where have they been up till now that they can still be so enthusiastic about this? How can you keep being enthusiastic about something that always lets you down? And I say that as a West Ham fan.
We will take Washington, the static capital of this dynamic country.
Oh, he's sort of a little bit shifty, isn't he? We'll take Washington, it's a static capital. He's a bit sort of Al Jolson of this dynamic country, and using my twitchy nerdiness, I will somehow find a way of getting us into a bloody war.
And freedom for all Americans.
He's just sort of staring like he's forgotten who he is and just thinks he's... Do you know what he looks like? When like the wolf dresses up as a grandmother in like Red Riding Hood or whatever, just like, hello dear, just sort of staring off into the distance. Then he remembers, oh, I'm supposed to be president now, and lets a smile slip across his dopey little boat race. Like the other brother, George W. Bush, remember, and he was king of planet Earth with his weird sort of squinty eyes, like his face was falling inwards into there, like, oh, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? As long as there's been Bushes, there's been making money out of bloody wars. That's all they've ever done. Jeb Bush, right, while he's been that governor, he does, like, every time he gets to vote for something, he votes for the worst possible thing. There should be a death penalty, make it easier to execute people, get rid of jobs. He's one of them kind of characters. But the Bush family, oh, check out the stuff they've done already. George H. Walker, that's the maternal grandfather, purchased billions of armaments for Britain and France during the First World War. So he's like an arms dealer. Then he oversaw the rebuilding of the Baku oil fields after the war in the 20s. Oh, war, oil, war, Bush, oil, war, Bush, oil, war. It's just thematically, this becomes quite consistent. George Bush's grandfather, the late Senator U.S. Prescott Bush, was the director and shareholder of companies that profited from Nazi Germany. You know, Nazi Germany, oh, that was bad. We made a few quid out of that, that's actually quite good. Hold on a minute, most of my memories of it was a terrible time. No, not from the perspective of profiting. That's an interesting way of looking at Nazis. It's the right way.
We're not going to clean up the mess in Washington by electing the people who either helped create it or have proven incapable of fixing it.
Right, can we just have a look at your surname for a second, mate? What, like the Bushes that keep being president? No, what? Hey, hang about, what's the matter? Where's Goldilocks? Oh!
In any language, my message will be an optimistic one.
In the universal language of humankind speaking to one another, what it's actually going to mean is war, oil, Bush. War, oil, Bush. That's eerily reminiscent of when his brother, W. Bush, announced his own presidential candidacy. Now, like, the surname's the same, and they're clearly people from the same tiny little Nazi gene pool, but I think George Bush, what he lacks in eyes, he makes up for in a certain kind of charisma.
Our military is low on parts, pay, and morale.
We're going to be spending money on the military.
If called on by the Commander-in-Chief today, 2 entire divisions of the Army would have to report, "Not ready for duty, sir."
We're going to be spending money on the army.
A generation shaped by Vietnam must remember the lessons of Vietnam.
Yeah, I think that lesson was, don't go to war with people that have nothing to do with you for made up economic or ideological reasons, whether it's a proxy war with communists in Vietnam or an economic resource war in the Middle East. As we know, this lesson was not learned.
When America uses force in the world, the cause must be just, the goal must be clear, and the victory must be overwhelming.
Just, clear and overwhelming. It was an absolute cack-handed shambles. False pretexts such as weapons of mass destruction, no one ever found that. I do wonder why they don't just go, oh yeah, we found them, they're over here by these bins. Killed hundreds of thousands of Iraqis, displaced 4 million people, set off a Sunni Shiite war, allowed Baghdad to be ethnically cleansed, troops practiced systematic and widespread torture, and strengthened Iran in the Middle East. It's an absolute bloody shambles, but I bet if you were to look at the corporations that Bush and other senior Republican figures are involved with, Cheney, Rumsfeld, all them Wolfowitz, all them cats, I bet those companies saw profits go up. So in his terms, it was a bloody good war. So remember, when this lot of these Bush bunch are saying stuff about, oh, we're going to be doing this, it's going to be positive, it's going to be the best 10 years, the best 20 years America's ever seen, the best in world history, they mean for them. They don't mean for you. They're sort of being honest. It will be for them. So what we have in the Bush family is a line that stretches right back to profiteering from the First World War, stops off at profiting from the Nazis, and throughout history has been starting wars for money. So you can bet they'll be starting more wars for money. This is not a plea not to sort of support or vote for Jeb Bush. This is telling you that you need to change your political system radically. And one of the first things you could do is never have anyone whose name's Bush anywhere near a button or with the ability to start wars on people. That's some true news. Subscribe here.
Nose is a tool that is abused to fool you and to leave you scared and confused. Trews is like the nose. If the nose was true, I want some Trews. Let's have some Trews.